Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review. And today we're taking a look at the brand new S.H Figuarts Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Ham 2-pack. And I want to give a huge thank you to Big Bad Toy Store for sending over this early review sample. I really do appreciate it. If you want to order this set, you can pre-order it on Big Bad Toy Store, or maybe by the time you're watching this video, it'll be in stock. So be sure to hit them up if you want this set. But let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the packaging. Through the small window here, you are able to see Spider-Ham and a little bit of Spider-Man Noir. You can see his jacket over there and his hat, and then a little bit of the figure itself. On the front, we get some really cool looking artwork. Over here, it says Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. On the side, we get a look at the figures posed up doing their thing. On the back, we get a look at all the accessories that they come with, and then we have them in some poses. And yeah, they're looking pretty badass. So I'm excited about this set. Over here, we get a look at the figures once again. And that's about it for the packaging. It is collector friendly and all that good stuff, but enough about the box. Let's go ahead and get these guys out and take a look. So right out of the box, I think this is a very cool set. Initially, I didn't like Spider-Man Noir as much as I had hoped I would, but I will say after spending some time with it and playing around with the figure quite a bit, I do like it, and I think the Figuarts did a great job with it. And then he does come with Spider-Ham, and Spider-Ham is pretty cool. It's a nice little accessory, but nothing more. And, I do have my issues with it. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but I think for the most part, it's a cool accessory. But as for Spider-Man Noir, I think they did a nice job, man. He has like a soft goods coat that has a bendy wire in it, which is nice. And the soft goods coat mostly looks good, but there are certain areas where I think they could have done a better job. Like, there's some parts that just kind of look cheap and weird, like the pockets. I'm not a big fan of those. And then the belt just looks like a cheap strip of fabric thrown in there. There's no like stitching or detail or anything. And then right here around the collar, it's like very thin, I wish they would have put some more detail in there to make it look better. But aside from that, I think it's a cool looking jacket. And overall, it's a really good looking figure. The only thing I don't like on him, which I don't like on a lot of Figuarts figures, is this area. They do a lot of weird stuff right here. And a lot of times it looks bad. But with Spider-Man Noir, because he's wearing pants and he's mostly black, this doesn't distract me as much as usual. So, it's all good. But yeah, man, I think they did a pretty nice job with it. But right out of the box, I was kind of hoping to be like blown away because, I don't know, I've been like disappointed with almost all of the Spider-Man Noir figures. Like the Sentinel one was cool, but the jacket wasn't very good. And the Marvel Legends one is actually pretty good, but it's a Marvel Legends. It's only going to be like so good compared to imports and things like that. So yeah, I was hoping that this one right here was going to be the one I was going to be like in love with. And like at first that wasn't the case, but I do like it quite a bit. And I'd say that it's probably the best Spider-Man Noir that we've seen in this scale. So, I think they did a pretty good job with the look on this figure. It's well sculpted and, obviously it's the color that it's supposed to be, just like various shades of black and gray. So I think it looks really good. Starting off here at the head, the hat is removable, which is very nice, because you could adjust it and do different things. But the head sculpt looks good. I like the webbing right there on the face and then the big white eyes. Aside from that, not a whole lot to talk about, but it does look good. The hat is really well done too. Check that out. And then moving on to the body, you could see here at the neck, he does have that turtleneck material down there at the bottom. And then, the chest is very well sculpted. It's got those like buttons and kind of Star-Lord type of outfit, right? And then he does have his belt, which is a floating piece. And then right here is the worst part for me. It's cut up and looking crazy. But fortunately on this figure, because it's so dark, you don't really notice it all that much. Or for me, it just doesn't catch my attention like it usually does. So I'm okay with it. But yeah, aside from that, everything looks really good. I like how there's like subtle changes in the shades of black. You could see that the boots are slightly different than the pants. And then like right here on the belt, you could see that it's a little shiny. So that's cool. And yeah, I think it looks good. And I think the jacket mostly looks pretty good. Check out the buttons right here. Those look really nice. I like that they put actual buttons. That's super cool. And the material it feels good and everything, but it's a little thin in certain areas. Like right here around the collar. I think the collar should have been more thick and like had some kind of detail in there. Maybe just some more stitching or something. And he's all black, so any little dust particle or anything's gonna stand out on him. But anyways, yeah, I think the collar should have been done better. If you have it folded over like this, folded over on the wire, it looks pretty good, but once it kind of rides up, it looks a little funny. And like these pieces right here feel like they could have been thicker, and I don't know, they could have made this look a lot nicer. But the jacket is cool, and I like the buttons and stuff. The pockets right here are really weak. They're just kind of cuts in the material. And then the belt isn't great either. It's just like a strip of fabric. You know, they should have added some like stitching or just some more detail to this, maybe like a buckle, just something to make it look more interesting, because as it is right now, it feels like a very cheap piece of fabric just hanging out in there. But the jacket itself is really nice material. I do like it, and the bendy wire is very cool. So there's some good stuff going on here, but I think like the belt and the collar could have been done a little better, and I think it would have made the jacket just feel overall a lot nicer, because everything else looks good, you know? But yeah, aside from that, I really don't have any problems with the look. Just like certain parts on the jacket and then this area here. But aside from those two things, I think the figure looks pretty damn good. And then here we have Spider-Ham. And, you know, I'm okay with this. I don't love it. I think they could have done a better job. But, you know, as it is, I think it's fine. You know, it's going to look cool along with the other characters. And, you know, whatever. It looks silly and cute and all that good stuff. But man, I just wish one of these companies would go like put their full effort into a nice like Spider-Ham with articulation and all that good stuff. He's always kind of just treated like an afterthought or just an accessory. So, you know, there's not a whole lot going on here. If you look at this as just an accessory to Spider-Man Noir, then it's cool. But if you're looking at this like a 2-pack that you're going to get 2 good characters, then you may be disappointed. But anyways, let's go ahead and see what we have going on here. He does look good, really well sculpted and stuff. Definitely captures that animated smart-ass kind of vibe, especially with this other head sculpt. He has 2 different heads. This one right here is totally like he's saying something that's pissing everyone off, or he's just confused by something someone else said. But yeah, that's pretty cool. And then he does have like a bunch of arms, but the arms, I don't know, these drive me crazy. So check it out. You pop this out, and then, you know, you stick this in here, and he has like basically 2 of every set of hands, but or 2 of every hand, I should say, like a left and a right for each style. But you pop this in here, and you know, he's not going to be able to stand with the hammer, so he does come with a stand that you could put him on. Is this the right one? No, he has, oh no, that's it. He has 2 different stands, but yeah, so, you know, that's pretty much the only way you're really going to get him to stand with that hammer. And if you need additional support, you could get this thing here. But this thing sucks, man. Let's see if I couldn't even really do it last time. So clip it onto here, kind of, and maybe something like that. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much how it's supposed to go. I mean, I guess that's cool, but it's going to be hard to do anything cool like with pictures or anything like that, having this big clear stand in the way. But I guess like it would have been hard to figure this out with all these heavy parts up top. So, I mean, I get it. This is definitely going to be cool for display, but that's about it. And then, like I said, he comes with 2 of these hands, and you have to switch the hammer between the 2 hands. Like, they didn't give him 2 full hammers. And then he has a couple of, like, man, these don't stay in very well either. That kind of drives me crazy. But he has a couple of, like, I don't know how you want to call these. What do you want to call these hands? Like, arms out hands? Yeah, see, like the hands are very soft plastic and they're hard to pop in there. To me, this is one of those things where I'm going to set them up a certain way, put them on the shelf, and then probably never touch it again. So yeah, you got hands like that. And then he does have some thwip hands, and that's cool. Oops. The thwip hands are cool. And they just kind of go straight out like that. Yeah, that's actually pretty dope. I like that. But yeah, so he has the different arms, so it's cool to have all the options. And then he has like a whole different lower half, which is cool. And this comes with its own unique stand, so you could have him like that. And that's dope and everything. But you know what I hate about this whole setup, which is really silly, is that his tail, you have to switch the tail between the 2 different... Like, they couldn't have given him a damn tail on both sides. That's so stupid. You got to switch the tail between both sides. And I don't know if the whole point was, oh, so it's articulated, but it's a pain in the ass. It's not worth it. Like, would have been better if they would have just given him a tail on both sides. There we go. So I'll probably leave him on the shelf like that. That's kind of cool. But I think they could have... someone needs to show Spider-Ham some more love and give us like a fully articulated, really well done Spider-Ham. You know, I could respect the fact that they try to do a little more with it by having the different arms and the hammer and the different heads. That's kind of cool. Like, they did do a lot here, but I don't know. Maybe it's impossible to do a really good Spider-Ham that's articulated and stuff like that. I feel like it's not. We see a lot of little articulated figures, and I think it's possible, but no one's really tried. I guess I've got to give them some respect for doing a little bit more than anyone else who's tried to do anything with Spider-Ham. So that's cool. But yeah, this is okay. I just don't love it, but it'll look cool on the show. In addition to Spider-Ham, this set does come with some other accessories for Spider-Man Noir, including several sets of hands. So first off, we have a pair of fists, and then we have another set of fists that have a hole in them so he can hold on to his webs. He has another set of web-holding hands that kind of have the thumb sticking up. He has a pair of open hands. Of course, he has a set of thwip hands. And then he has a set of, I guess you could call them like hat-tipping hands. That's the best way to describe them, I think. And then he does come with a couple of web effects. Pretty standard web effects that we've seen on a lot of Spider-Man figures. It's basically like these type of guys that just kind of go around the wrist. It would have been nice if they painted this part black to blend in with the rest of the figure and just kept the web itself white. But, oh well. So it looks kind of weird like that. But he does come with one small one and then one longer one. And they fit on there nicely. And they do look pretty cool. But yeah, I might paint these black. And then he does come with one more web effect. I guess you could call this like a swinging web effect. But he's able to hold it with those fists that have holes in them. And yeah, they go in there nicely. So you could definitely use this for display or something. But that's okay. And then he doesn't come with the gun. But he does come with a gun holster that's kind of, closed and sealed. And this goes on the side of his belt. It just like pegs on there, as you could see. Goes on there really easily. But yeah, I mean, this is okay and everything, but I don't like to have this on there because it kind of pushes the jacket out. So I'm probably going to leave it off, but I do appreciate that they included it since it's accurate. It would have been nice if he came with a gun, though. And when it comes to the scale, these S.H Figuarts Spider-Verse figures are kind of crazy because they're really tall for whatever reason. Usually, I feel like Figuarts runs kind of small, but they went kind of big on the Spider-Verse figures. But here's a look at Spider-Man Noir alongside the Marvel Legends version and the Sentinel version. And I think the Marvel Legends one is actually really good for what it is. I don't think it's the best version, but I think he looks good. They did a great job with the jacket and the style, the sculpt, all of that. If he came with the soft goods jacket, that figure would be a banger. And then on the opposite side, we have the Sentinel version, and he's cool, but I absolutely hate the jacket. The jacket is horrible on this guy. Like, I haven't played with this figure since it came out. When it was first released, I took it out of the box, messed with it, and I was like, I got to get a soft goods jacket for it, put it away, and haven't taken it out since just the other day to include in this review. And man, this jacket is whack. I don't like it at all. So I would say for me personally, I do think the Figuarts, although it's not perfect, it's probably the best version of Spider-Man Noir from the Spider-Verse movies that we've seen so far. And then here we have them alongside both the S.H Figuarts and the Mezco 112 Collective versions of the Miles Morales Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Man. And I think both of these look really good alongside the Figuarts Spider-Man Noir. I was surprised to see that the Mezco one looks like he's maybe just a little bit shorter, or maybe pretty much the same size as the Figuarts one. I didn't think that was going to be the case. But yeah, like I said, the Figuarts stuff runs a little big compared to what they usually do. But either way, I think that either one of these figures looks really good alongside Spider-Man Noir. Dang, here we have them alongside the S.H Figuarts Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen and the Mafex Spider-Verse Spider-Gwen. And I'm surprised by how small the Mafex version is. She looks like a little kid compared to Spider-Man Noir. I think the Figuarts version of Spider-Gwen looks really good with Spider-Man Noir, but the Mafex one can't really fit in with them. Geez, Spider-Man Noir just looks like a giant compared to some of the other Spider-Verse figures out there. Here we have him alongside the Marvel Legends, Spider-Verse Miles, and the Sentinel Spider-Verse Miles. And that Sentinel version almost looks like it's in a different scale or something. He's tiny. And then here we have him alongside both the Mafex and the Marvel Legends versions of Into the Spider-Verse Peter B. Parker. And I think both of these figures are really great, especially the Mafex Peter B. Parker. I think people sleep on that figure. In my opinion, I think that figure right there captures the whole attitude and vibe of Peter B. Parker from that first movie better than any other figure. So yeah, they did a great job with it, and I think people sleep on that figure. Dang, this is kind of surprising. Here we have Spider-Man Noir alongside the Marvel Legends Spider-Punk and the S.H Figuarts Spider-Punk. And I didn't think that the Marvel Legends Spider-Punk was this tall. He's almost as tall as Spider-Man Noir, which is crazy. But man, that Figuarts Spider-Punk is that thing is a freaking banger. I love that figure. That's another one that's kind of been sitting in the pile. I got it like when it first came out, but I haven't really messed with it. I opened it for this review and I was kind of like blown away. I was like, damn, I didn't think this figure was this crazy. That's a really, really dope figure. I gotta make some kind of video for it. Stepping away from Spider-Verse, here we have him alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and the Marvel Legends Renew Your Vows Spider-Man. And then here we have him alongside the Mafex Deadpool and the Messy Toys Black Suit Spider-Man. And huge shout out to Kit Bash Customs because I broke my Mafex Deadpool and he helped me fix it because he had a broken Mafex Deadpool. So he gave me one of the pieces from it so I could complete mine. And yeah, I love that figure. I was all bummed out when I broke it. So huge shout out to him. He definitely saved the day for my Deadpool figure. And then here's a look at Spider-Ham alongside some other Spider-Ham figures. On the left, we have the Marvel Legends comic version. On the opposite side, we have the Marvel Legends Into the Spider-Verse version. And, you know, I still feel like we don't have a really good Spider-Ham figure. None of these are great. They're all okay, but they're basically just like little statues or whatever. Like the Figure Arts has all kinds of little things you could do, and that's fun or whatever. And the Marvel Legends has some articulation, but I really wish that somebody would make a fully articulated Spider-Ham. They could totally do it. There's plenty of small figures out there with a lot of articulation, so I would like to see someone do that. Ooh, and I almost forgot this, but here we have Spider-Man Noir and Spider-Ham alongside my favorite figure in the S.H Figuarts Across the Spider-Verse line, and that would be Spider-Man 2099. Yeah, this thing is awesome. They did a great job on him. And standing next to him, Spider-Man Noir doesn't look so huge because that Miguel O'Hara is pretty damn tall himself. And before we get into the articulation, here's a quick look at Spider-Man Noir without the coat. And I think he looks good. With or without the coat, it's a great looking figure. So yeah, they did a nice job with all the details and the overall look, the colors. Like obviously, you know, it's mostly black, but there's different shades of black just to kind of make it look a little bit more interesting. There's a little bit of gray in there, so it looks good. And the details are nice too. So yeah, the only area that sucks is, you know, this area with these extra floating pieces. I think these look ridiculous and they look even worse in the back here. But obviously, it doesn't bother me that much here because he has his jacket. And, you know, up here, there's a lot of things going on, so it just doesn't look as bad. You know, he's like a very dark color and he's wearing pants, so I could kind of live with it. Although, I may pop his legs off and take off these additional, like, these additional pieces here. I just feel like they're unnecessary. But anyways, yeah, man, I think the figure looks good. And then as for the articulation, I think he has a lot of good stuff going on. Definitely a fun figure to play with, and you could get him into all kinds of good poses. Let's go ahead and take a look, starting off at the head and the neck area. He does have a ball joint at the lower neck and movement at the upper neck. Using both of those, we get some really nice tilt action. Check that out. So that's really good. He could look side to side. It is a little squeaky, you hear that? But still, no problem moving side to side. He could look up to about right there, which is pretty good. And then he could look down to right here, which is very nice because he's definitely going to be looking down at people since he's so tall. So yeah, the up and down is pretty good. The side to side, the tilt, all of that is really nice here at the head. So they did a good job with that. And then for the torso, he does have a diaphragm cut that has like a ball joint. And then at the waist, he doesn't have like a regular ball joint. It's like a hinge situation. A lot of Figure Arts figures are like that. I mean, it's like a ball and a hinge, but I feel like the ball joint doesn't really do anything for you because you can't like twist it. You can't go like side to side with it or anything. You can get that movement from the diaphragm cut, so that's nice. But the waist joint doesn't really do too much for you, but it does go forward a nice amount. Like using both joints, you could get him to go forward to about right there. I mean, a little more would be nice. Man, I'm afraid I'm going to break him if I push it, but I have broken a Figure Arts Spider-Man on camera before, so I got to be careful. But yeah, that's pretty much as far forward as he can go. I wish there was a little bit more forward movement. Man, I just wish they kind of like had a ball joint at the waist. Like what they do here seems like overly complicated and doesn't get you much more movement. But the diaphragm has really nice movement forward and back, so that's cool. And then, as I mentioned, we get some side-to-side action, and you could also spin on that diaphragm joint. And then for the shoulders, I like what we have going on here. So they have like these shifting kind of shoulder joints that are like butterfly joints, which are nice. They get really good movement forward, not so much going back, but then you could shift the shoulder itself back, so it kind of makes up for it there. So yeah, they did a good job with the shoulders, and it could look a little broken up and crazy, but when you have the jacket on, it doesn't matter. So yeah, the shoulders are nice. I like the forward movement a lot. Check this out. You could get his arms in front of him a really good amount. Cross his arms like that. That's really good there. And then you could get him into some nice punching poses if you want him to like beat up some bootleggers or whatever. There, you see? Oh, he lost his hat. You can't fight without his hat. That's crazy. The hat stays on there pretty nicely. But yeah, anyways. So he can get into some pretty nice punching poses. Look at that. Really good stuff. Boom. Yeah, these shoulders are nice. And like I said, they may get broken up sometimes, but you're mostly going to have them covered with the jacket anyways. So, you know, it's all good. But good stuff there at the butterfly joint. And then he does have a ball joint here at the shoulder that goes all the way around. You can bring his arms up a crazy amount. And that, like, shoulder piece in here also shifts around and does all kinds of good stuff. Like, whoa, you can bring it way down. Yeah, so good stuff here at the shoulders. Like I said, they do go all the way around and come up to the side. He does have upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows that get a good bend. And then at the wrist, he has a ball joint with the hinge. So you could move those around and, you know, do what you need to do. And then for the legs, he could kick forward to right there. So look at this. Like, the forward movement isn't all that crazy. Goes forward to, like, right there. So this, like, these extra things and all this stuff down here doesn't really get much, doesn't really do much for you. It doesn't look good and it doesn't add to the movement. People claim that it adds to the movement, but in this case it does not. Check this out. He can only get his leg up to right there. And then here we have Spider-Punk, who doesn't have like these dumb shifting things anywhere. And look how much more you could get his leg up. So for all you out there, because whenever I complain about this setup, people are like, oh no, it adds movement. No, it doesn't. So, there you go. But anyways, I mean, he does get decent movement going up. But I'm just saying, this whole situation doesn't really add anything. He could have got this if they sculpted it cleaner, you know? But yeah, it goes forward to about right there, and it goes back. I guess it does get back, like, you know, the Spider-Punk can't really get his leg back like this, but who cares about that? And then he could get his leg up to the side to right there for kicking action. Bam! Look at that. That'll work. Get his leg way up there. Boom. And then he does have upper thigh swivel, which is nice. He has double jointed knees that get a really good bend. At the ankle, he has a ball joint that hinges forward. You can twist on the ball joint. And then he also has rocking ankles. And then he does have a toe hinge. So yeah, like I said, I think Spider-Man Noir has some great articulation. Definitely a fun figure to play with. And, you know, there are some areas that could get broken up by the articulation scheme. But with the jacket on, it won't even matter. And the jacket does not, or the coat, jacket, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't hinder the articulation whatsoever because it's so big and loose fitting. So, you know, it's not going to get in the way. But yeah, man, I think the articulation on him is really nice. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I think this is a really, really good set. Spider-Man Noir came out very nice. Initially, when I took him out of the packaging, like, I wasn't blown away, but it definitely grew on me, and I think it's a really, really nice figure. Like, the soft goods jacket is cool. There are some details that they kind of left out, and it would have improved the overall quality of the figure if the jacket had those details, but as it is, it's still a good-looking jacket. The figure itself is really well sculpted. There's a lot of nice detail in there. The head sculpt, the hat, all of that looks really good, and the colors are nice too. Obviously, it's just black, but they added like enough little details here and there to change things up and make it look interesting. And you know, no matter what, Spider-Man Noir looks interesting. He's just like a dark figure, mysterious, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think the figure arts did a great job with him. Articulation is really good too. I think you could get him into all the poses that you'd want out of this version of Spider-Man. To me, he's not quite as posable as someone like Peter Parker or Miles. So, you know, this figure's not quite as posable as figures of those characters. But this guy turned out good and he's fun to play with. And yeah, I think they did a pretty nice job with it. Although he's not the perfect Spider-Man Noir quite yet. Spider-Ham is really good too. But, you know, I think that every company that's done a Spider-Ham figure has kind of taken a lazy approach and just kind of treated it like an accessory or just a throw in there kind of, you know, silly kind of thing to include with the main figure. And I guess that's kind of okay, but at the same time, he's his own character, and it would be cool to get like a figure with full-on effort put into it with articulation, accessories, and all that cool stuff. As far as this version goes, I mean, it does its job. It stands there and it looks silly, and it's gonna look cool alongside the other Figuarts Spider-Verse figures. But I just wish there was a little more going on there. And you know, I'll say this, although I don't think that every single S.H Figuarts Spider-Verse figure is perfect, I do feel like they probably have the best, most complete lineup out of all the other companies. I think they did a pretty good job all the way across the board, and the figures just look really great together. And you may be able to pick like little things here and there, like exceptions. You could say the Mezco Miles is better than the Figuarts, or the Sentinel Peter B. Parker is better, but you know, Mezco only has that one Miles, and Sentinel only did the first movie. Marvel Legends did a pretty good job at completing the whole team, but I think as far as like having the complete team and making them look good together and being of high quality, I would say that Figuarts probably did the best job out of everybody. So yeah, anyways, I think this is a really cool set. I do like both figures, and I'm happy I have it. So huge thank you to Big Bad Toy Store for sending this out to me. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to pre-order this set, or order it because it may be in stock pretty soon here, but if you want to pick this up, you could get it at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll leave a link to that in the description below, as well as links to a bunch of other figures that I talked about today. And also check the pinned comments for that kind of stuff too. I have links to a bunch of figures shown in the size comparison, Spider-Man Noir, Odious, all of that. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Thank you very much. Peace.